You'd be fine saying that, I think. That's funny. Carly, stop laughing. We have one more movie to talk about in our Clerks trilogy.
I'm ready.
Trilogy of Will There Be Pie of Clerks.
What's the third movie?
Well, it's Dante. He's back.
Whoa.
Elias.
Whoa.
He's back. And Jay and Silent Bob are enlisted by Randal after a heart attack to make a movie about the convenience store that started it all.
The Quick Stop.
This is the Quick Stop. This is the final installment of our 3-piece trilogy discussion on one of the best, the Holy Grail New Jersey convenience store movies, probably the only New Jersey
convenience store trilogy.
Movies. But anywho, you just saw this movie.
I literally just finished it like 20 minutes ago, or however long we've been recording.
She's not a true Kevin Smith fan like me. I ran out to the Fathom events.
He did.
Opening night, whenever the fuck that was, 2000 something, 2022. I don't remember when it was, but
yeah,
it's kind of how I felt when I first saw the movie. I was yawning.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
You almost just made me yawn.
I'm sorry. I left the theater not that impressed. I was kind of disappointed a little bit.
I thought it was. Are we spoiling anything?
We're gonna get there.
Okay.
We're gonna get there. So hold your spoiling.
I'm not gonna spoil it yet, but I'm just wondering if we are going to spoil.
Yes.
Okay.
So this episode, yeah.
This does contain spoilers. This episode, we're not gonna talk about it generally.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen this movie yet and you are not aware of the series of events that happen in the movie, just beware that we're going to talk about it.
Yeah. Just because I feel like there's a lot of key things that happen in this movie that like we have to like talk about that I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on. So it's kind of tough not to spoil this movie. Although, I mean, there is a way, when I put it in my notes, there is a way where like we spoil what happens, but like the way I word things, it's like, who?
Ambiguous. Yeah. I started it today, this morning, and I was so surprised to hear My Chemical Romance immediately. Like, I heard the piano note that all emo kids knows.
Oh, hell
well.
yeah.
And I was like, can it be? And
Is this going to happen?
And not only was it just like, it was the whole fucking Black Parade song.
It was literally the whole fucking song. Which that was the first start when I went to see this in the theater. Like, don't get me wrong. When I first went and saw this movie in theater, I was so fucking excited. Mm-hmm. But also at this point, I mean, I'll be honest, like Kevin Smith movies aren't really Kevin Smith movies anymore. And I totally understand why. The climate of making films is completely different. What's going on here? The climate of making films is completely different. As we discussed with Clerks 2, there's an insane amount of like not politically correct things going on. So it's like, we're not going to get Clerks. I felt, we're going to get this new version of Kevin Smith telling a Clerk story.
Sure.
And I do think that this movie is very, it's a good closure.
I think so too. I definitely think it's obviously way more tame than Clerks 2 and Clerks singular.
Clerk.
But I also think that it's a great reflection on obviously like what Kevin Smith had to have gone through.
So to start off, so I think my notes here are jumbled, but to bounce off what you're saying. So if you follow Kevin Smith, he has wrote off his whole having a heart attack back in 2018. He had a heart attack.
He almost died. Which true story. I was there. The show he had the heart attack. Were you there? Did you? And it was 2 shows. He did the first show, then After the first show.
After the first show, they braked for the show 2, and because it was filming for a special, and then they canceled the second show. A guy came out, and we were all seated, we were ready for the show, and the guy came out. We thought he was introducing the Kevin Smith, and it was just like, yeah, no, like Kevin is being rushed to the hospital, blah blah, this stuff, and we're just like the crowd started laughing.
Scary? Oh,
well, the crowd started laughing because everyone thought it was a joke, and then he's like, I assure you, like this is not a joke. Like I'm not trying to be funny. Like Kevin's just like he's the ambulance are on their way and all this stuff. But we're just like, what the fuck? Oh shit! Like okay.
I remember like seeing that announcement and being like, I don't get wrapped up in like celebrities like personally, you know what I mean? But like that one hit me. I was like,
same.
I was like, oh no, not Kevin.
Yeah, no, totally same. I mean, as I said on the first episode of this Clerks trilogy, that you should probably go watch it. Yeah, I mean, he's from Jersey. I'm from Jersey. Like, that guy makes a kid like me feel like I can make movies. You know what I mean? So
also just like he loves movies like we love movies, I think.
Totally.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just a lover of film. And I think I always saw a lot of myself in that. Yeah. And so like it just hit differently, I think.
It was weird, especially so like when leaving the theater, it was at the Alex Theater in Glendale. I don't even know if it's called the Alex Theater anymore. But when leaving there, yeah, like the fucking ambulance was rolling up and everything. I was like, whoa, this is real.
Yeah.
So came out, he had a heart attack, and for a few years he kind of just kept bringing it up. Any chance that he could get, hey, I had a heart attack. Oh, I made that. Doing this, I had a heart attack. Like you could probably ask the guy what he had for breakfast and then probably followed it with, because I had a heart attack. And it's just like, all right, we get it. You had a heart attack. Anywho. So even so to the point of where he makes Clerks 3 that really centers around the heart attack, but giving motive to do some other shit in life after having such a traumatic, experience of like, hey, I could have fucking died, so I'm gonna go do something else. And in this sense, like Randal, after he has his heart attack, he's like, I'm gonna make a movie. I was like, what?
Which I think makes sense because I feel like Clerks and Clerks 2 both have that scene towards the end where it's like, stop whining about your life and like do something about it. Stop talking about doing stuff and do something. You know what I mean? And so I think this kind of, and it's obviously like happening in like your 20s and your 30s and now in your 40s. Like it just keeps on really driving that home to the point where now Randal almost dies and he's like, I want to memorialize myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So that being said, originally, Kevin Smith announced in 2017 that Clerks 3 was off the table after a falling out with his friend Jeff Anderson, who had played Randal Graves in Clerks and Clerks 2. Anderson had read the script but chose not to be involved. Smith canceled the project and made Jay and Silent Bob Reboot instead. 2 weeks before Jay and Silent Bob Reboot was released, however, Smith revealed that he had spent an entire day signing Clerks movie memorabilia together with Anderson and Jason Mewes, Jay. This reunion allowed them to patch things up and provided him with so much inspiration that he immediately threw away the old script and started working on a new one with ideas that Anderson was receptive to. According to Smith, it will be, quote unquote, a movie that concludes a saga about how you're never too old to completely change your life, about how a decades-spanning friendship finally confronts the future.
I love that. I'd be curious to read the old script.
Same.
Or scripts, sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that comes across in the movie. I mean, even shit, as I'm getting older and I watched the movie again today too, I'm just like, I need to just go make a fucking movie. You know what I mean? like literally. All right, so spoiler alert. Spoiler. Duh, spoiler. All right, Becky.
I was so sad to see that. So
what?
The in memoriam on the register.
Oh yeah.
In the opening.
Yeah, so Becky dies. Becky has died.
We don't see it. It's just like 1979 to 2006 or whatever. So like she
was pregnant.
Yeah.
She died. I believe, what was it, car accident?
We don't find out until later, until the end of the movie, what happened.
It was a car accident, though, right?
Drunk driver.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. I just randomly put that. That's literally my note. That's all I have. Rosario Dawson dies. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
the opening
cool,
is like a montage to My Chemical Romance of like him opening the store. We get some backstory of that Becky has passed away, but then, you know, they're still going through the movements of selling and opening the store. They're still playing hockey on the roof with like the friends, and we get to see a lot of people from like, I don't know if you ever watched the Secret Stash reality TV show, but there were like people from that like in it, and like just his friends. It really just felt like a bunch of friends hanging out, having a good time, shooting this montage. We're kind of brought up to date with what all the characters have been going.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning part.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. Okay. Because I was listening to you, but I was looking at my other note about the other montage.
Oh yeah, no, the other montage is later,
about that. Yeah,
which
we'll
is
talk about that in a
totally
second.
separate, but also friends.
A lot, yeah. We'll get there. So the use of the actual Quick Stop Groceries location from the first Clerks film in New Jersey, which is now run by the son of the original owner, unlike the first film, which could only be shot at night, hence why the shutters were jammed. The store was closed for 2 weeks, which allowed for scenes to be shot during the day. Previously, the Quick Stop location in Jay and Silent Bob reboot was a facade. Oh gosh, I knew that. I know that too. I'm like looking. I'm like, why? Who?
No, because that makes me think of is it Billy Madison where what's his face? Oh my gosh, what's that actor's name? The guy with the weasel laugh in Billy Madison. He's like, it's such a facade.
Ryan. No. The guy that's in Get Out.
Cabin in the Woods. Oh yeah, he's also in Get Out. I can see his face so vividly. Bradley Whitford.
Whitford. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
He says facade.
Facade. It was a facade built in New Orleans, which had a much bigger parking lot and different surroundings. So it's nice to get back to Jersey.
Yeah.
But also Jersey has tax incentives now for films. So it's probably why. This was the first Clerks film not to be photographed by series regular David Klein. And I think that oddly shows. This movie felt too clean for my liking.
Yeah.
As opposed to like how I was saying with Clerks 2. You should watch that. It's on the one last week that we talked about. One. We are still wearing the same clothes. Maybe we're not. Maybe we're not. Maybe you should find out. You should click on it. Find out.
We haven't moved.
We haven't. I scrunched up into my corner. But as I was saying with Clerks 2, I fucking love the way Clerks 2 looks.
The color palette is super cohesive, I feel like, with like the colors of movies and also like everything. This one felt just bright is the only word that I can think of. It's
very funny when Silent Bob comes in, because when Dante's like, oh, we're going to get, Silent Bob to be the DP, director of photography, get your mind out of the gutter. It's going to be the DP.
Why'd you say that?
Because you know how many times I say DP? They're like, oh, my DP. They're like,
really?
Oh my Christ, yeah, dude.
Oh, sheesh.
I'm just like,
that's so funny. I did not even think about that once.
I think that's why a lot of people say DOP, and I'm just like, I'll say DP.
I say DP.
Yeah, I say DP. DOP sounds weird. It sounds like a fucking senator or something.
I was going to say, it just reminds me of something political.
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah, same. So...
Sorry.
Oh, so when he says, like, he's like, oh, yeah, like, when Silent Bob says, like, oh, like, the colors in here are shit, so we're just going to shoot this in black and white. Like, you kind of see why it's like that. Like, I feel like it's true what they're saying, because it's very true.
He says this, I think, in the first episode. If you haven't watched it, go back. Clerks 3 is very much like a movie of making a movie, like, right?
Yeah.
It feels very documentary about the making of Clerks, and there's just like a lot of fun facts and things like that, like the jamming of the door.
Yeah, there's the whole thing. I mean, so Smith mentioned making this movie is just how it was making the actual Clerks film, and that's why there are so many of like those things. And I just personally also like this movie's, I don't know, it's not the best of the trilogy. It's an okay movie at the end of the day. I'm sorry, I'll say it. But however, I will always watch this movie just because I fucking love watching a movie where they're making a movie.
Same.
I love that shit, like Ed Wood. I'm drawing a blank, but Clerks III. I love that sense of movies making movies. It's like you just see the chaos that happens, and with this one it's so much fun because there's so many real moments that
I think that's why I really did enjoy this movie, and I think I held off watching it because I didn't hear the best things about it.
Yeah.
You weren't super enthusiastic when you first saw it.
And to back up, I totally forgot to mention because I think we just started talking about like the movie.
Yeah.
I was in the theater. I'm not gonna lie. I fucking teared up.
You did
during the one part. Mm-hmm. But that didn't make me love the movie. I still left the theater like, it's a movie. However,
you texted me when you left the theater. I remember it, and you did say that you were like, but it's like I did cry, or you didn't say you cried, but you were like, I definitely teared up.
Something,
at the end.
yeah. But throughout and it's the same thing with Jay and Silent Bob reboot. I've grown watching it at home. I've learned to enjoy it way more. And that goes with Clerks III as well. Like I do enjoy watching this movie now.
There are certain movies that I think are better as a home watch than a theater watch.
I agree. I mean, like
I just want to be cozy.
Yeah.
Watching this on my couch versus like in a theater sometimes.
I think like I run to the theaters to see any Kevin Smith movie just because it's Kevin Smith. Like I love the guy. But I don't think his movies are theater-esque movies. Yeah. You don't have to go. Like I think I would love to go see Tusk again in theaters.
I would see Tusk.
Someone fucking do a re-release of that. Jesus.
I feel like that should be a new Bev. I didn't see that in theaters. I saw it at home.
Well, you know what I just fucking heard?
What?
I don't even know where I heard it, but Kevin Smith said that because Tarantino is such a Michael Parks fan, there's only one print. I don't know if it's only one, but Tarantino got a print of Tusk made just so he can add it to his Michael Parks collection.
QT.
And I'm like, yo, why the fuck are you not screening Tusk at the New Bev? What the fuck?
What the
hell? Jesus, like, I would love to see, because I saw that movie in theaters, obviously digitally, but I would love to see that on film.
I would too. Do they have a suggestion box that we can?
Probably not, because they're. Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. Love the New Bev. Anywho,
please play it. Thank you.
Please play it. Let's talk about that whole montage scene. That's just way too much fun of them auditioning people.
Oh my gosh! So there's a part because they're making this movie. They put up like, you want to be in a movie?
Yeah.
Come audition at the local playhouse, which I think is so cute. And then they basically just have, I feel like Kevin Smith sent out an email to his friends like, hey, anyone who wants to be in this movie, let me know and I'll write you into the audition scene. And so you have everyone.
Literally everybody.
Literally everyone. Like anyone that's not...
Matt Damon's in it too, isn't he?
I don't know if I saw Matt Damon actually.
Where did I see him in? Oh, I think just Jay and Silent Bob reboot I'm thinking
of.
Okay.
But Ben Affleck, Freddie Prinze Jr., Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is random, and Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I love that.
Why the fuck were they in it?
I don't.
I mean, I'm not mad about it, but I'm like, where did these two come from?
Their appearance took me the most by surprise because Sarah Michelle Gellar starts at the beginning, and they don't like introduce her or whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
But
like,
then
it's
Freddie
so
Prinze
random.
Jr. is like Freddie Prinze Jr. as himself.
Yeah, he's just like Freddie Prinze Jr.
Freddie Prinze Jr. auditioning.
And the best thing, it cuts to them, they're just like,
It's so good.
Which is, I'm like, what is the gag behind that? You know, like, what is the whole joke behind that? That's why I don't mind it. I love me some Freddie Prinze.
Oh, same.
I can't say I love Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I can.
But I do love I Know What You Did Last Summer. So that's why I love Sarah Michelle.
Yes. I love Buffy. And then Melissa Benoist from Supergirl.
Who else is in that? Why? I feel like I gotta just pull it up.
What's his name from?
Anthony Michael Hall.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The the teen that buys drugs from Jay in the second one. He's also like he buys drugs a lot from Jay in like all of the movies, but he's in it. And he's like, oh, this reminds me of the guy I buy weed from. Yeah. And then what's his name?
All right, here we go. Do you want me to list them all?
The magic eye guy.
The magic eye guy
from Mallrats. But he also buys drugs.
Oh, Ethan Suplee.
Thank you. I couldn't remember his name. Yeah. Yes.
All right, so here's the list of the auditioners: Brian Quinn, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Fred Armisen, Melissa Benoist,
I think
Danny Trejo, James Murray, Sal Volcano, Donnell Rawlings, and these are people where like when you these names make no sense. But when you see them, you're just like, oh my god, I know that guy. Oh my god. Joe Gatto, Ben Affleck, Ralph Garman, Ethan Suplee, Scott Mosier even did an appearance at Freddie Prinze Jr., Anthony Michael Hall, Jake Richardson, Grace Smith, which is Kevin Smith's mom,
Bobby Moynihan.
Him.
I would have loved if he played Silent Bob, because they were like, what's he doing? And he's like, he's auditioning for Silent Bob.
Yeah, and I feel like there's more, but yeah, it's
Ben
not
Affleck.
In there.
Did we say that already?
Yeah.
He's so funny in it.
Apparently though, that whole bit was like a real thing from a real audition that like Kevin Smith and Ben Affleck had like of a joke. I don't know if it's from Mallrats.
I love it.
Terrible podcast we don't fact check shit, but I'm pretty sure
we just talk.
it was someone like Ben Affleck and Kevin Smith had like an inside joke from like an audition that there was someone who was fucking Benny from fucking Boss and he was the best guy ever. So that's why that whole bit is making fun of it.
It felt like an inside joke, which I think is why I loved it. And I texted Jay while I was watching it, and I was just like, this whole audition scene just makes me so happy because it just feels like friends hanging out, filming, and being ridiculous, and then just like him.
Well, that's the thing with Clerks 3. I feel like Clerks 2, you can definitely get away with like, you can watch Clerks 2 and not Clerks, and you're there, you're with it. Clerks 3 is just like, it's for the fucking fans at that point. Like, and that's what it's like when I went and saw it. It was a packed theater, but you could tell it wasn't fucking Bobby walking in to catch Clerks 3. They were Kevin Smith fans. Yeah. And this movie is for the fans of Kevin Smith, for damn sure.
Yeah.
As I stated earlier, this is personally not a favorite of the Clerks trilogy, in my opinion.
Sure.
However, it is full of heart. As we said earlier on this episode, definitely teared up watching this movie in theaters. I definitely teared up even watching it at home this morning to remind myself the movie. So that being said, ahead are some spoilers that we will discuss. Once again, if you, we're going to try to like not say names. So then but you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Anywho, so spoilers, tap out if you want. And also that's why
it's streaming on Stars currently.
There you go. And that's why I kind of want to save the spoiler talks towards the end. So then if you're still here, spoiler alert. If you're not, fuck off. So Randal's idea to have Dante die in the third act of his movie is taken from the original ending to Clerks, where the Quick Stop store is robbed and Dante is shot and left for dead. When the film began to make the rounds in the independent film scene, Kevin Smith was suggested to take the dark ending out and end it with Randal telling Dante that they're officially closed for the day, which in the original Clerks. But we do get to see them filming the gunshot thing. So have you, I don't remember, we literally just filmed it earlier.
Yeah.
Did you say that you saw the ending of that scene? Like, it's on the deleted scenes, the original ending.
I didn't, but
okay. It's so like
when you said it obviously like called back to, because I had just watched Clerks 3. And so I was like, oh, like that makes sense because that's what they put in the movie. And he's like, I don't want to die. And he's like, okay, sorry, like you're cut from the film.
Yeah. I mean, you should watch the original ending of Clerks.
I will.
Just because it's so, like, as I said, like, you could tell it's very just like Twin Peaks vibe. Like, and just very just like a David Lynch type ending. It's like just so weird. Like, you know what? I don't even, like, honestly, I think that it was...
I'm glad they didn't end it that way, not only because I think, obviously, like, I love Clerks 2 and I appreciate Clerks 3, but also I just feel like that vibe is not the movie.
That's the whole thing. Like,
yeah. Also, Clerks just ends so well because it's just
it does. Yeah. Well, hey, we're closed. And they throw the thing. Yeah, that's great. So obviously, I was expecting Randal having a heart attack due to the trailer showing that and setting up the whole movie. However, the other heart attack that happens, I was like, in the theater watching, I was like, oh my God, is this really happening? Like, we're going, I was rolling my eyes first. I'm like, oh my God, the whole heart attacks. All right, we get it. Heart attacks. But then once watching the footage of the original Clerks movie and what they were making, it wasn't, we didn't see the clips of what they were making. I know. We didn't see the clips of what they were making throughout the movie. We saw the original Clerks movie, which even on 4K, you can see how shitty that looks if you go back to what I was talking about with the look of the original Clerks movie. But that when that original showing of those scenes was how I was like, oh my God. I was like, we're about to get something here. We're about to get something. And at the same time, I was just kind of like, okay, if this happens, it'll happen. It's closing a chapter. It's closing a trilogy. I mean, not only, it's just closing a whole like chapter just in Kevin Smith's personal life, I feel, as well as he was doing like, all right, this is Clerks 3. This will be the end of this. How I'm going to do it is I'm going to say goodbye to these characters. But also I feel like, because ever since fucking Clerks 3 happened, he stopped talking so much about his heart attack. So I was like, I feel like it was like a whole just like closing a chapter.
Yeah, he needed to like get it out. There was a lot of foreshadowing at the beginning of the movie to what happens at the end, so I was kind of expecting it the whole time. But I really liked how they did it. I liked that it wasn't, I don't know. I do think that the Randal shift was a little quick, where he's like, he doesn't give a fuck, I'm just gonna go. But I also, I don't want to spoil, but I think we already mentioned the spoilers, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we're still on spoiler season here. We didn't really name names of what happened, but I mean, you guys aren't dumb, so I think you're gonna figure out.
Yeah.
After these 3 episodes, I think you're gonna piece together who we're talking about here. But anyway, go on.
Because I think that I believe, because at the beginning of the movie, Randal has his heart attack, and it's not. Like, he's still talking through the whole thing. He, doesn't really, even he says after the surgery or whatever, he was like, that was a breeze. I'll have another one. So, I think when the second one happens and he doesn't understand, the gravity of it, and he's like, I'm just going to go finish making my movie. That makes sense. But I feel like the switch to, just because they're talking about, he had to do this to, get his money or get the money for the movie, all of a sudden it was just I thought that was a little quick, but everything else I thought played out really well. I liked it, but I understand it if people didn't.
I think people are just so I'm not even mad how he decided to end the movie. I'm not mad about that. It's just okay. I mean, fucking fair, dude. It's also just a nice way. I don't want to say a nice way, but it's a way to just, hey, this is it. Tapping out.
Yeah.
3 Clerks movies. Good to go. Well, that's what it's like. Well, so we went and saw Shaun of the Dead re-release, and Kevin Smith's new movie, the 4:30 movie trailer, played before, and it even says from director Kevin Smith, list off the titles. And it says, and probably Clerks 4. I'm like, please don't. How would why? One, you're really digging up a paycheck to do that, but 2, it's just how. One of my biggest grudges with this movie is the character of Elias, and how we were discussing. I loved him in the second one because he was the calm one, but also his shit was just over the top, but it fit in all that stuff. Meanwhile, this one, he's just insanely over the top the entire time, and it's just oh my God, it just seemed so much. And
yeah,
that's my personal grudge. I mean, other than that,
no, I agree.
He's fine,
and I think because before we started filming, I kind of mentioned this where in Clerks 2, I think his energy in Clerks 2 and Clerks 3 is the same, but I think Clerks 2 is so extreme and the whole movie is at 11, whereas I think Clerks 3 is a lot more subdued dude, but he's still at like Clerks 3 is at like an 8, but Elias is still at 11, and I just think that it's like too much sometimes. But I do think the Holy Ghost joke was so funny.
Back to...
I don't think that there should be a Clerks 4.
No, absolutely not. I think that'd be stupid. I think like maybe side stories of like in like a cartoon format would be a lot of fun, like what they did with like the cartoon series that they already did once upon a time.
Yeah.
Do that. Do more of those. Like that'd be fun. I would love that. But like another movie, I'd be like, why?
Because I feel like, and I never saw this, so I can't speak to it, but I feel like it would just turn into another Yoga Hosers.
You never saw Yoga Hosers?
No. But I know you told me about it.
I do want to revisit. You know, it's really funny that like I want to revisit it in the sense of watching it as a kid's horror movie, because that's how he says. I forget. Maybe it was at like Babylon or some shit that I went to. Like he said like, oh yeah, I made like a kid's horror movie and it's Yoga Hosers. And I was just like, I did not see it like that, but okay.
Yeah.
So it makes me want to go back to rewire my brain to watch it like that. But when I went and saw Yoga Hosers when it first came out, I was high off my ass and I was just like, what the fuck is this movie, dude? I was so confused on what this fucking movie. It just felt, everything about it just felt, it felt like a... You remember those Benji movies?
But they work at a convenience store, right? Or they work at some sort of...
They work at a convenience store. But like, you remember the Benji movies?
The dog movies?
Yeah.
Absolutely. With the dog that was in Mooch Goes to Hollywood.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Benji.
I love that you're just like, listen. I know his IMDb. I got it. I got everything. And he was in this movie. Fucking Benji, dude.
Sorry, go on.
But it felt like I was watching like one of those like Benji movies.
Interesting.
Like it's it's as in the sense of like production value.
Sure.
Like it was, yeah, that's what I mean. Like not like fun. Benji's fun.
Benji's so fun.
Benji's a lot of fun. But no, like production value wise, I'm like, what the? It felt like a fucking like Saturday night ABC family. What was that? ABC did that shit on like Friday or
like Family Night movie.
Yeah, dude, that's what it felt like. It was just like a production value. If it was, anyway, we're not talking about Yoga Hosers. Anywho, sorry, but
like it would just be that idea with different people, and it's like, but the charm of Clerks is Dante and Randal.
That's the thing,
and then Jay and Silent Bob. You know. So I think that to make a Clerks 4 would like be a disservice. Yeah,
I mean that would, as I said, I think that would be really picking for a paycheck at that point.
Which like isn't what those movies are about.
No, not at all. That's why
it's about making movies because you love making movies.
Absolutely.
With your friends.
Absolutely. Clerks 3. I mean, that's kind of it's kind of like it. That's a wrap on our Clerks trilogy.
Yeah.
Series thing going on here.
We did the dang thing.
When these post, I believe I'm trying to time it out the same time that Kevin Smith's new movie, the 4:30 movie, comes out in theaters. Go check that out. Also, go watch Clerks 2, Clerks 3. Go watch all Kevin Smith's movies because I think that they should be celebrated more.
Agreed.
I'm trying to think. Like there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, so I don't know the order of when. I know when these three will come out, but things are going to look a bit different due to upcoming holidays. So stay tuned. Don't know when this will happen. I mean, shit, by the time this one airs, maybe we'll already be talking about Halloween movies.
Yay!
I'm excited.
Me too.
So, but that is Will There Be Pie? That is a wrap. Sorry for the one angle.
Yeah.
2.
Possibly 2.
Yeah.
We forgot about the GoPro.
Yeah, I'm just rambling now.
Yeah.
We've been talking for an hour and 40 minutes.
Bye.
Bye.